I guess it's my turn.
It is.
The big surprise is I played Tynan and a bunch of random Congregate games. Anyway. But I finally hopped on a game that I've been putting off for ages, and a couple hours into it this week, Witcher 2, which I've heard so much about the series, especially since the latest game is getting a lot of hype lately. And this is the series that pretty much made CD Projekt a big-time studio that's considered, I don't know if a AAA studio, but it might as well be. I honestly had limited knowledge of the game itself, other than looking like kind of a combination of, I don't know, Fable and Dragon Age or something like that. So actually playing it, it's a heck of a lot more linear than I expected. For some reason, I was thinking it was going to be a lot more free-roaming, kind of Elder Scrolls-ish. Not quite to that extent, because I know you have a specific character and specific stories, but I don't know. It's not a bad thing. It's just, here's my thoughts. Let's compress them. There we go. One thing at a time. So, okay. I may just not be far enough into the game yet that it may open up bigger areas, because there's a lot of adventure games that do this kind of stuff. It leads you down the road until it's to a point in the story where it opens up. Most every Final Fantasy. Yep, that sounds like a porno website. There.
Pretty porny. It's pretty porny.
Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of Final Fantasies do that, but I've been enjoying it, despite some faults, the biggest of which is the clunky controls. The mouse button does several different things, and so it's all a matter of context, and that almost always has problems, but I know that's a console thing that they put on it. Yeah, anyway. The only other problem is my computer's not quite up to the task that the game wants to be as far as its graphics are concerned, because even though I've turned it down even from where it said, okay, your computer can handle this, I'm still getting a lot of weird graphical pop-up stuff, where you'll see the character, but the details will just suddenly jump up on them. And when it's cutting back and forth between characters talking, and it does this repeatedly, it starts getting a little obnoxious. So I think it's a buffer thing. I just need to find the controls on it and bump it up a little bit, because I have a little bit of power in this thing. It's not a huge computer, but surely I can handle that much.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I also picked up Indie Royale's cheapy little mystery bundle that included a little mobile-friendly title that I've seen in bundles in the past called Hero of the Kingdom, which is a combination of a lot of familiar ideas I've seen before, but packaged into a style I've never actually played before. So I don't even know what to call it, but it's a bit like a Zynga Facebook game, Frontierville specifically, but it's in a non-base, you don't have a headquarters or anything like that. You're not building a town, you're not building a farm. It's purely quest-driven, and you go around on this campaign trying to rescue your father from these bandits after they burn down your house, your farm. And so you go around the countryside helping people, chopping down wood, hunting animals, and all with this Age of Empires style graphics. So it's a very simple game, but it's, like I said, I've never played anything like it. I was blazing through with it until last night, and it got about half of the board opened up now, the map area. And so many demands for materials and supplies, and go do this and go do that, and you do not have enough money to do it all. And there is no like, okay, well, just go do a lot of this over here and you can make money, and then there's only so much of that you can do, because each time you do that stuff, there's a chance that the equipment you're using is going to break. And guess what? It would take 4 of those little mini quests to get back the item that you broke to do it. So I don't know if I'm just glitching out or if I'm doomed. So I haven't gone back to it. Instead, I bit the bullet and started up a creative mode project on Minecraft. The idea, I was just going to start creating random stuff just for the sake of seeing if I even wanted to get back into it. And I ended up starting a project which I've actually seen done a ton of times already from the pictures that I've seen online of it. But Canaria from Final Fantasy 1, which is the town and the castle both. And pretty much finished up all of that last night, and I started working on Temple of that particular area, yep. And I was starting working on the Temple of Fiends, but I don't know, I'm not having as much fun doing that, so I think I'm going to stick largely with towns and stay away from labyrinths and mazes and dungeons. And I'm not trying to make a pixel-perfect representation of the Final Fantasy world or anything like that, because I'll probably move on and do towns from other RPGs or pictures or something like that, just since I can't seem to get myself to create something of my own. If I create something else, I don't know. I have the bug to create something, but not the heart left to go back and do what happened to my map, my Island City map. So I'm still really, really burnt by that. And it's not Minecraft's fault, it's mine. So who knows where it's going to go from here. I've already kind of an ugly little map if anybody's really looked at it. I'm trying to find pictures of the Dawn of Souls one, the remake they made for the Game Boy Boy Advance. Nobody doesn't seem to have mapped that out, which is curious.
They're probably purist.
What is this map? You need that?
You made it from that filthy remake.
Well, who needs that map anyway? You can go look at the original. It's almost the exact same map. So there you go. If you're lost, just use this. We don't need to spend the time making new maps for you. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. But between Witcher and Hero of the Kingdom and Tynan and Minecraft, that's actually been the most hours I've put into gaming in a week in a while now. So, and largely because of Minecraft, because that's one of those type of things you can almost multitask. If you have something you need to listen to or something that's, you have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, you can jump in, do something, then jump right back out again. So that's probably why. And
Minecraft is definitely that kind of game.
I'm going to drop in some news real quick because A, we're trying to get Mike back to his games. And B, I might have a busy
Grover's
weekend.
playing a game.
Well, yeah, that too. You both are at it. I've also kind of got a busy weekend coming up, so doing some animated game news, especially for the lackluster stories that showed up, is probably for the best if I just cram it in here real quick. So the biggest story is probably Xbox One released this week in the biggest untapped market in the world, China. After 14 years of the government banning video game consoles, Xbox One has launched 10 games, but due to China's laws against violence and drugs and cultural defaming and all that type of stuff, it goes without saying that a good deal of the more mainstream games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty are not on that list. These are more family-friendly games that got launched. And Sony and Nintendo have yet to release their consoles as of yet, but despite Nintendo's games being some of the ultimate in worldwide appeal, China and Japan have not exactly had the greatest of friendships for very, very many years, and it could be part of the reason for those delays.
Just possibly. Just really hate each other. Just
Yeah, they've had some kind of ugly moments in just the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, Angry Birds developer Rovio Entertainment is preparing to lay off 130 staff after its chief executive, Michael Head, I'm going to assume it's Michael and not Michael, stepped down, and profits continue to disappear now that Angry Birds craze is actually starting to wane a little bit, despite new forays into things like kart racing games and tie-ins with franchises like Star Wars and new animated series and even an upcoming feature movie. I think Angry Birds may have ran its course.
I think it sounds that way.
You can only push something so far as Zynga learned, and as many other companies have learned.
Well, at least I give them the credit of trying to franchise the games out into other fields and not just make Angry Birds 4, 5, 6. So
yeah.
I give them that, but still.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't the only layoffs this week. Nerd Kingdom, the developer behind the Minecraftish Tug, laid off half of its team after turning down a funding that would have kept the project afloat, but it would have also lost them complete control and ownership of their own title. So the game's progress is allegedly continuing well, despite the layoffs that are incoming, and there's actually increased interest from gamers and publishers alike that are keeping them from being too worried about this being an issue. Some might remember a lot of the attention for the game came after Yogscast failed to honor their Kickstarter for their own game because they overspent their money and basically ran out, and they gave all of the material and code that they had developed for that game and gave it to Nerd Kingdom for theirs. Now, whether Nerd Kingdom used any of it or not, I have no idea, but... And love it or hate it, Defiant, Sci-Fi Channel's tie-in to the MMO of the same name, is actually scoring a third season, as the stakes on both the show and the game, who interact with each other, I don't know how much, but it's supposed to continue to rise. And that was pretty much all of the game news. And you can see why it would almost be pointless to spend a lot of time talking about all that. It's interesting, but it's news, but it's not like, ooh, that was interesting. Yeah. And we've already got a long show because of you two really having some interesting play conversations, but intentionally made a tiny topic. I had a different one set up for it, but I thought, no, I'll squeeze it down. And that we've talked about crossover games before, but just... Uh-oh, I have a Blinky. Oh, hi, Smithy.
Blinky?
Smithy's saying hi. I'll get back to him in a minute. But we've talked about crossover games before, but because the Smash Brothers came out today, I thought it would be kind of an interesting idea to just ask you guys, if you could have any crossover game in the world, what franchises or companies would you put together, and what genres would you want it to appear in? We'll go ahead and start with Mike on this one.
Well, I got mine. Smash Brothers. But other than that, I'd like to see a first-person shooter with Mega Man in it, kind of in the spirit of Metroid Prime. So something crossover-y that would work with that, I think would probably be a Metroid with Mega Man in it. That would be pretty interesting, I think. After all, they had the Dr. Wily Space Alien in Mega Man 2.
Yep.
Of course, that ended up being completely, just Wily, but hey, could have been.
Would you want to lean to a more serious Metroid slant, or keep it more toward a serious anime slant for Mega Man? Man X?
That's a good question. I don't really think I'd have a problem with either one.
Because I can't really see it going all out cartoonish with the standard Mega Man, because I can't see Metroid being converted to that too easy.
Yeah, it would probably have to be the X series. I really don't. As long as it's a first-person Mega Man game with, I chose Metroid because, Metroid Prime already exists, so I thought it would be the easy one to pick. I'm a huge Nintendo fan, so I mean, my dreams have already been answered with Mario games like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, and it is nice to see not specific Nintendo characters getting added to Smash. We had Solid Snake in Brawl, and this one we've got Mega Man and Pac-Man, so it's nice to see them branching out more with that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can't really think of any specific crossover that I just think would be amazing that hasn't been talked about, or would only be amazing in concept and probably not in
execution.
Execution.
Project Cross Zone probably comes to mind.
I didn't really play a lot of it. It just isn't my kind of game, I guess.
I think if it wasn't so slow and played a little quicker on smaller maps, say like something out of Disgaea, that might have worked a lot better in its favor.
Maybe.
Because everything else is there. You can't get much more fan game than something like that.
It does have a lot of different crazy Capcom characters that you wouldn't normally think of being in a game together, so.
And don't forget all the Sega and Namco.
Yeah.
Those are three of the biggest dogs in the business, and they all got these crazy characters in there.
What would you want?
Me? Mm-hmm. I'm probably the easiest to please because I enjoy the tactical RPG type of stuff. Project Cross Zone is probably a game I would have if I had a 3DS. Matter of fact, that and Smash Brothers are pretty much making me lean to at least getting a 2DS, if nothing else, maybe down the road. But yeah. I don't know. My forte generally is fighting games, but I don't know if I would want something more Smash-based or something more Marvel vs. Capcom-based, or I don't know. There's just so many options, and I'm so indecisive. But if I were to create the ultimate crossover, it would not have any boundaries of what that crossover could entail. In other words, what companies. And it would be something along the lines of what's the best games to list here? Dynasty Warriors for the big epic battles. Kind of an Assassin's Creed in the sense that it's free roaming and you have a lot of mobility options. And just enough RPG that you could level the characters and have a story behind it. And I'm trying to think of a game that really fits those criteria, and there's a lot of games that's similar. I mean, like Infamous and Elder Scrolls to a certain extent. So there's a little bit out there, but nothing quite like that third-person action extravaganza that could fit both for swordplay and gunplay and work all together for multiplayer or not, or big battles or small battles, indoors, outdoors. Yeah. No, I do have it. The Arkham games. There you go.
Oh, yes. Those are great games.
That's a good combination of everything I just mentioned. So that'll work. Yeah.
It would, now that you say that, it would be neat to see something as big of a crossover like Smash Brothers, but in some kind of adventure exploration world like Arkham. That would be pretty neat.
I don't think I would have it too seriously slanted. That way you could have characters that aren't really known for mature audiences. Like, kind of what they did with Kingdom Hearts. That'd work. But what about you, Grover?
SimCity Civilization, but we're going to do a third one. Sims, too.
I don't know if I'd call that so much a crossover as just the ultimate Sims game.
Oh, yes, that's why. It would
build a country.
It would be like Spore. It would be like Spore, SimCity, Sims, and Civilizations all mixed together.
Yeah, so you could even make the creatures that
and then Maxis can it all up.
They probably would too.
They'd find a way.
Well, EA would anyway.
Well, as we know, if you haven't heard, the people that are making that Warlock game, they're making a city simulator as we speak, and so far it looks amazing.
So speaking of Warlock, is that code expired? Because I don't think I ever used it.
If you didn't use it by the 22nd, yeah, it's gone.
Oh, no, I did use it. I used that one. I don't know if I used the other one though. So I think there were two.
For free, it's a fun game, but I would not get the DLC for any reason.
No.
It's for petty DLC at that.
Like horse armor?
Special units and stuff, I think. Maybe some extra spells. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh boy, extra spells!
I think they do have some extra leaders or something like that you can choose from, but you can customize all that stuff. So unless you're just really sold on a particular portrait.
I like the Ghost. That portrait is one I actually enjoy, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that'll handle this particular outing. A little bit of everything in the show, I think. Literally, except for Prinny.
A little bit.
I need to get that Prinny Plays stuff started again. I really do.
Whoa.
What?
Oh, that was me. That's lame.
He's playing too.
I am. I've been playing Smash Brothers. I've been, listening though,
Yeah, you've been
and talking and responding. So.
I seem like I have. I almost want to say that I almost feel like I have better focus on playing the game because I can do very monotonous shit.
Yeah, anyway, follow us on Twitter at PrinnyCast. Okay, let's not even keep that for a blooper. And you can contact us with email at PrinnyCast@gmail.com. Random gameplay comments. So, we'll see you all next time, guys. Later, dudes.
See you next time.